Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa projected to go number 3 to the Lions in Mel's latest mock draft. Someone, meaning someone next to me on this desk, think the Lions should trade that pick. On Friday, Lions general manager Bob Quinn had this to say about that possibility. Quote, the higher you are up in the draft, really the sooner the conversations begin. I've not had any trade conversations with anybody as of yet. Those usually tend to start in the combine in the hallway that we kind of roll through, and we'll see how that goes. Jeremy Fowler, again, I'll start with you because sort of the line that we've adopted here on the show is the draft starts at 3. So at what point do those phone calls really start to heat up for the Lions?
They're going to start now, and so you're looking at Tua Tagovailoa. Is he going to be the biggest bargaining chip in this entire draft? Because this is a guy that some teams like better than Joe Burrow, but they're really hoping for good news on the medical front because there are some other teams that think maybe he's a 3 to 5 year player, that he can only make it through one contract. So it really depends on what happens with his medical. If it looks good and teams say, hey, he's going to have a great career, that helps the Lions a great deal get what they want.
Greg, obviously, for those who are not familiar with you, you work at the SEC Network. You're down there day in, day out. You've obviously played at Alabama. You know all of this.
Yeah.
What is your sense of what Tua is going to be on the next level?
I think he's going to be outstanding. He's got the best instincts I've seen a prospect at the quarterback position since Pat Mahomes. Now, he doesn't have the physical skill set that Pat Mahomes has, especially to be able to make arm angles and throw off balance and things like that. But if we're talking about just instinctively feeling the game, feeling the presence in the pocket, having to negotiate in the pocket, feeling defenders and throwing around defenders, he's such an incredible player in that regard. And I understand the injuries. I get that. But let's think about what those injuries actually are. 2 ankles, which, by the way, he had bad ankles, all right? Heaven forbid. A lot of people do. He got tightrope procedure. Those ankles are now stronger than they would have been naturally. Okay, a hip injury. Yeah, I'm concerned about that. We all are. We should be. But the only time you see an injury like this is in a car accident.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem, G-Mac.
Yeah.
One, if you're looking at Tua, started for what, under 2 years? A year and a half, 2 years. 3 injuries, 2 years. So you can only say that things are freakish until they become extremely common. Yeah. Tua, like you said, I completely agree. I think that had he stayed healthy, he's probably a better pro prospect than Joe Burrow.
I agree.
He stayed healthy. But he didn't stay healthy.
Right.
So if you're the Lions, how in the world can you replace a top 5 quarterback by any metric in Matthew Stafford, whose only issue last year was an injury, for a quarterback whose prominent issue is an injury? It just doesn't add up.
Is your sense, Jeremy, that they will ultimately trade that pick? That Tua's going to go 3, I think is right now the conventional wisdom is Tua's going to go 3. Do you think it is more likely than not that it is Detroit or someone else that takes it?
They're going to try, but I don't know if a team is going to willing to go that high because of the injury issues. We can maybe get him later. There are a lot of good defensive players in the draft, so the Lions want to get out of that spot. They can get somebody at 5 or 6. I don't know if they're going to get the draft capital they need. Perhaps they can include Pro Bowl cornerback Darius Slay, who they can't get a contract with, and rework a deal that way. Meanwhile, Tua, I'm told, is looking at bigger picture options of where he can land that's going to be best for him because his agent represents Patrick Mahomes as well. They saw what happened pairing with Andy Reid. Think about John Gruden with the Raiders, some of these teams that have an established play caller. That's where he's looking.
I will say this. Honestly, Greeny, I think it ends up best for Tua. Even in regards to all the conversations and where will he go, even if a team doesn't take him earlier, Tua's going to end up probably sitting, getting a redshirt a year, take some time, mental IQ is going to increase, physically going to increase, and he's going to end up balling. So either way, Tua will be fine, just not with the line.
You know, the Reid comparison, and for those who don't know, Andy Reid and John Gruden were coaches on the same staff a million years ago in Green Bay, and there are a lot of similarities in their approach. If he winds up in Vegas, and he sits a year behind Derek Carr, and you see what winds up happening, playing in John Gruden's offense, and we all know John is always interested in the young quarterback. That's an interesting proposition. We'll see where it winds up taking us. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.